Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss some topics on CI firmware. We want to know how we can add group to devices, how we can send a command to a group of devices, how we can add a scene to devices, how we can recall a scene on devices. So basically we have two methods to send the command to ZigBee devices. We can send them individually, or we can send the command to the group of devices, or we can have a broadcast, which is a command to all devices. To send the command individually to a device, you need to have the network address of the device, or we call it node ID. But to send a command to a group of device, we need to have a group ID. So we need to add the group to those devices and then assign that group ID to those devices and then send that command to that group ID. Now I want to show you that actually here I have two devices here to show you in that example. Device 1, device 2, they are light bulb, and I have my CI firmware. As I said, CI firmware can be built for many of Silicon Labs modules. Here we have our module on a WSDK board, which is a development board produced by Silicon Labs. My devices 1 and 2 have already joined to my CI firmware. So I'm going to connect my CI firmware to my PC to the serial port. Yes, it's connected. Let's find it. Okay, COM port 14. I can connect it now. We have the information. Yes, my device is connected. This is the module number, this is the version number, and this is the MAC address of my device. Okay, I prepare a notepad file here to show you everything, because to save the time as well. So we have two devices here. Device 1, FFD full function device or router, which is about a ZigBee tree Lite, is a router or full function device. We have MAC address for the first device, node ID for the first device, we call it address as well. And we have endpoint 01, endpoint 0B for the second device. We have MAC address for the second device. We have a node ID for the second device. And we have the device information here, which is a FFD full function device. So both of them are router, both of them are full function device powered by electricity here. And then we're going to send first the command individually to each of them. So I want to send the toggle command to device 1. Device 1 goes on. Let me send toggle command again to device 1. Device 1 goes off. Let's send the toggle command to device 2. Again to device 2. Yes. And then send the command to device 1. Send the command to device 2. So you can see that to send the device to send the command to a device individually, you need to use that parameter, which is the address, or actually the node ID. Now I want to add group to those devices because they have a group cluster on their server side on endpoint 1 and B. Add group command is this. We have an address, which is a node ID or network address, this one. We have endpoint, which is 01 and 0B for different device. We have send mode, which is 0 when you want to send the command directly to a device, and 1 when you want to send the command to a group of device. We have group ID, which is a 4-digit number. 1, 2, 3, 4 is our group ID. We have group name, which is a string. Light is our group name. So I'm gonna add device 1 to my group, and then I want to add device 2 to my group. Both are added to group light with group ID 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want to send off command to my group. So instead of sending the command directly to each of them, we're going to send the command to both of them. So we need to send that command to the group ID of them. Let's send the off command to that group ID. Yes, both of them goes off. Let's send the command on to both of them. Yes, both of them goes on because we send the command to that group ID. Now I want to add a scene. Scene is different from group. Scene is a situation that you actually define to have a transition time and then change the status of a attribute on your cluster to something different. I want to define two scenes, one on and one off. So I want that when I call scene 1, my light goes on in 5 seconds, and I want to, when I call scene off, my lights in that group goes off in 5 seconds. So this is a transition time, we call it 5 seconds. We have a scene name on, which is a string, and we have cluster ID, which is 06 for on of cluster. We have a length of our attribute, which is 01, and we have a value 01 for on, 00 for off. Group ID, as you can see, is the same 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can define a scene ID. I want to define 01 for scene on and 02 for scene off. Let's add scene on to device 1. Yes, it's added. This status shows that it's successful. This is the group ID and that one is the scene ID. Let's add the same scene to device 2. Successful. Let's add scene off to device 1. Successful. You can see scene ID 2 and group ID 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can add the scene off to device 2. Yes, that's successful as well. Now I can actually recall scene 1 individually or in a group. So first of all, I want to recall scene off or with the scene ID 2 to just my first device. I want to send it to my first device. So you can see that my first device goes off in 5 actually seconds, and then my device 2 can goes off in 5 seconds. Let's see. Yes, it goes off. Now I want to recall them in a group to be back to on status again. So I want to recall on scene for both of them in that group. Let's call. So now both of them should goes on in 5 seconds. Let's see. Yes, you can see both of them are on. Now I want to actually make them off in that group, both of them at the same time, make them off in 5 seconds. So I can recall scene for that group. This is recall scene command. This is the group ID. This is the send mode, which means that it's sent to the group. This is again group ID, and that one is 02, which is the scene ID. So now we want to make both of them off in 5 seconds. You can see that both of them goes off. For more information, actually, you can have a look at the CI firmware manual. We explain everything there, but I had just this tutorial to show you actually on that video to how it works and how you can issue those commands, how you can construct those commands and send them. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.